It was a soupy 18 degrees outside, the warmest autumn since records began. I'd spotted my first festive baubles in late September, and tree lights were twinkling by Halloween.
Nervous, Charles?
I'm always nervous till I see the whites of their eyes.
They're queuing round the block, so expect a crowd.
Oh, God. The city that never sleeps had become the city that never stops shopping. Streets thronging with consumers in T-shirts, shorts and Santa hats.
Just waiting for the all clear from front of house.
Morris, my so-called agent, was busy securing work for his star clients, leaving the serfs to scrabble around for crumbs.
OK, Charles.
Yeah.
Showtime.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's someone here who'd like to say hello.
Hello! Hello! Welcome to Santa's Grotto! Ho, ho, ho!
Everyone's a critic.
Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane.
Hi, Juliet, it's Mum. I know it's still a way off, but I was just wondering if you've any idea when you might be arriving for Christmas. Only there's a festive market on the South Bank I thought you might like. Anyway, give me a ring. Love to Olive. And Miles, of course.
I need a drink.
Kettle's just boiled. Worth a shot.
My chin.
What have you done?
Has Morris phoned?
What's happened to your face?
I'm beard intolerant.
Well, you were when I took you for vegan tapas in Hoxton.
That was a restaurant. I thought it was a George Bernard Shaw look-alike agency.
Stop scratching.
Whatever that beard was made of, it feels like my chin's on fire.
You have gone a very funny colour.
How funny?
On a scale from shaving rash to leprosy, impetigo.
Who gets impetigo?
Mostly children.
Great.
I might have some ointment. Bad day at the grotto.
I've sweated a stone, been told I smell funny, and been reprimanded for smoking by a sanctimonious elf who I might add is not even an elf.
No.
Sparkle. I kid you not. Real name, not elf name.
Antihistamine cream.
And I've been urinated on twice.
Keep still.
Once by a child.
A tip or a review?
I can't keep this up till Christmas.
It's work.
It's hell.
Don't chuck in the towel yet. I want to bring Olive to see Santa. Why?
No, Franz, absolutely not. I will not have our granddaughter seeing me being ritually humiliated.
Don't be so pompous.
One day I'm going to die, and I'd like her to remember Grandad with at least a shred of dignity, not wearing a cheap beard and smelling of pee.
That was pretty much your Uncle Vanya.
Oh, ha, very much not ha. Oh, this itching has spread to my head.
I can't put cream on your head.
Oh. What?
Pass me my glasses.
What? Oh, Francis.
I might be wrong, but I think you've got nits.
That's it. Give me the phone.
Oh, why are you calling my private number?
To see if you really were out of the office.
I am allowed a personal life.
Are you doing something personal?
I'm at the gym.
Shut up.
How do you think I maintain my boyish physique?
I don't think about your physique.
I've still got a 30-inch waist.
Well, it's one achievement to put on your grave.
I intend to live forever.
Not if I have my way.
What do you want, Charles?
A job.
You've got a job.
I've also got nits.
Nits?
Imagine that, a parasite living off an actor, and I still haven't been paid for that BBC poetry reading.
I'll chase it.
Get me a proper job that pays proper money.
Look, Charles, it's not...
Do not tell me it's not a good climate. You always say that, and yet mysteriously all your other clients seem to be unaffected by the weather conditions.
A, weather is different from climate, and B, I was going to say it's not a good time for me to talk. I'm going into a spin class taught by a Swiss called Kurt. Thin as a whippet, with legs like knotted rope.
Well, when you and Kurt have stopped spinning, whatever the hell spinning is, will you please find me something, anything that doesn't involve asking people if they've been naughty or nice?
Ah, so that'll be a no to adult phone lines?
My face ballooned overnight, so head elf sent me home before I traumatized a generation of kids. Stocked up with a sack full of medication, I stopped off at the Drum and Monkey before embarking on my hair massacre. Stop spinning yet?
Said the man with a glass in one hand and a fag in the other.
How do you do that?
I am Morris, the great and terrible.
Terrible, yeah, but great.
You are so gonna love me, baby.
I'll be the judge of that.
Time to swap the red suit for a bit of verse speaking.
Shakespeare?
Not exactly.
Webster?
Not quite.
Decker, then, or Aphra Ben?
We're rhyming already.
Johnson, Middleton, Beaumont and Fletcher?
At last some enthusiasm from the old Kvetcher.
Kidd, Marlowe, Massenger, Ford?
Please stop now, I'm getting bored.
What's the play, Morris?
A very timely revival of an old classic. Listen up, Charles, for here's the plan. It's Cinderella, you're the broker's man.
And that's how I found myself at the Festival Playhouse Margate. Or rather, at the United Reformed Church Hall round the corner where the cast of Cinderella were gathered for a meet and greet.
Oh, my giddy aunt, it really is you.
How many Charles Parises do you know?
Shush, not a word. Danny's running the database. Snow White, Alhambra, Western Superman, 1979.
You're good.
Same year Mrs. T got in.
And I just finished a tour with 784, so much for political theatre.
How the devil are you?
Oh, you know.
I do, matey, I do. Two of a kind, you and me, the gift of longevity.
Well, that or we can't do anything else.
They come, they go, but I'm still here. Oh, shut up, Danny, they've heard it all before. Where do you stay?
Actually,
Shush. I run a discreet little B&B. Classy stuff, very bijou, very boutique. It's my pension plan for the tragic day when no one wants my twanky. Each room's got a theatrical theme, and you are to be my guest. Mates, rates. Don't tell the others.
I'd love to, Danny, but I'm going to commute.
Oh, all right, Charles. You're missing Egyptian cotton sheets, top of the range en suite, and a full English to die for, but all right.
Last time I'd worked with Danny Fitz, I was young huntsman to his wicked queen, but where I was feeling the years, Danny remained infuriatingly sprightly.
Teeth and smiles, here comes our star.
Hey, just thought I'd say hi, Ken Palisi.
We know, dear. Danny Fitz.
Charles Paris.
Danny, Charles, good to meet you.
The Just Say No campaign could have been written for Ken. 5 years ago, his Emmy Award-winning show made him a household name both sides of the pond. The smile looked sincere, but the eyes yelled, how the hell did I get from there to here?
Hey, listen, I gotta tell you, I'm way out of my comfort zone.
Oh, bless a Pando Virgin.
They'll love you.
You know, everything you've learnt about acting, forget it. Heads up, tits out, and make sure they can hear you at the back of the gods. Oh, excuse me, gents. Cheap coffee goes straight through me.
He's a force of nature, our Danny.
Say that again.
And a great dame.
What, like a dog?
No, as in there's nothing like a dame.
No, bruv! This weird or what?
Sorry.
Tad!
The boy's cartoon smile was exacerbated by unfeasibly white teeth set against an unnaturally tanned face.
Tad Mullish! We met at Tarantino's pool party.
Right. Oh, good to see you. Tad.
Tad?
Tad. So, what you doing? This, of course.
Tad hung in there, waiting for Ken to remember him, but the ever-growing pause said it just wasn't going to happen.
Do you two know each other?
No, but I know your work. Of course, I didn't know his work, but I hate watching a wounded animal squirm.
You watch the channel or the TV show? The channel demographic under 25. You watch the TV show?
Who doesn't? I didn't, but I had seen the airbrushed face and joke haircut promoting Sun, Fun and Formentera, a constructed reality soapumentary about a bunch of 20-somethings living the Balearic dream.
Okay, lovely people, let's cozy up round the table for a friendly little read-through.
Some scripts read well. Cinderella didn't. The show would only come to life with musical numbers, outrageous costumes and scenes of clown-like business. How'd you find that?
I'm on a steep learning curve.
Don't worry, it'll all come together by opening night. How much did they tell you about Panto before you signed up?
I'm starting to think not enough.
But you agreed to do it.
Yeah, well, my personal life has become a tad chaotic. You've probably heard about it.
I don't do celebrity gossip. But Morris does little else, so I was fully up to speed on Ken's addiction-fueled train wreck of a life culminating in his catastrophic fall from showbiz grace.
Well, I've been through a lot, but I'm not in denial.
I hadn't actually asked, but I'd come across therapy mantras before.
Anywho, I like a challenge, so I'm like English pantomime. What the hell? I hope I did the right thing.
I can talk you through it if it helps.
Would you do that? Look, I'll buy you lunch. Your choice. Something traditionally British? What exactly is a ploughman?
It's a flexible term for bread and cheese with a pickled onion and a sad salad.
I'll have the fish and chips.
Mushy peas.
Charles?
An acquired taste. It shares DNA with peas, but the texture's more a velouté of Kermit the Frog.
How could I not?
1 ploughman's, 1 fish and chips, and 2 pints of IPA.
No beer for me. Diet Coke, no lemon.
Ice.
Not too much. Say 3, maybe 4 cubes, depending on the size. Definitely not more than 4, and definitely not a whole glassful. I want Coke with ice, not ice with Coke.
Ice on the bar. Help yourself.
Welcome to England. Grab some cutlery. I'll get us a table. The chef was a Raphael with a deep fat fryer, but an Emin with veg. My ploughman's consisted of bread like a washing-up sponge, soapy cheese, and a salad so depressed it came with a Prozac dressing.
Well, if I'd known the dame was a transport, I'd have told my manager to hold out for it.
Well, it's not so much trans as drag.
Well, tomato. Still a career booster. Jeffrey Tambor? Eddie Redmayne?
I spent the next half hour trying to explain that a panto dame is less Danish girl, more la cage aux folles.
So, the panto tradition is in a direct line from Commedia dell'arte, right?
I suppose way back, but its roots are really Victorian music.
So when I was at UCLA, I wrote this dissertation on slapstick and stage violence in the European tradition.
I had the feeling Ken was one of those craft theory actors who analyse the hell out of a script and then kill it stone dead.
Of course, Samuel Beckett recognized the genius of Buster Keaton.
And so it continued, Ken trying to show me what a cultured man he was, me wishing I was dead. Or at least dead drunk.
Then I spent a year in Paris, at Le Coq.
Oh, God.
Excuse me?
Sorry, cheese. Went down the wrong way, I'm sorry.
Hello, boys.
Oh.
I didn't get a chance to say hello earlier, but I saw you guys hiding away here, so I thought I had to come over.
Hey.
Josie, I'm swing captain.
If you're unhip to theatrical jive, swing captain is a sort of chorus line manager, or chorus line manager.
Ken Polizzi.
I know.
Charles, and we weren't hiding.
Oh, I know guilty boys when I see them. Actually, Ken, we have met, but you won't remember.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It was about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
You had a beach house in Santa Monica.
No, I've never had a beach house.
Oh, must have been somebody else's beach house. My agent sent me out for the pitch season.
Right.
It was a long time ago. I've probably changed quite a lot. And I was using a different name back then. Willow Green? Sorry, I'm ruining your lunch. Can I sneak a chip? Later.
How are you finding the mushy peas?
Like you said, they're an acquired taste.
Whether it was the food, Josie, or just Margate, Ken's mood was subdued as we walked back through the out-of-season streets.
You married, Charles?
I'm not officially unmarried, you?
Serially unmarried, and about to be for the fourth time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's my fault. I'm not in denial. Electra has made it perfectly clear that she won't untie the knot till her shyster lawyers have taken me for every last cent.
Ouch.
Ironically, she's screwing me more now than she did when we were together. Talk about married to the mob.
Seriously?
Hey, Ken, what the hell are you doing?
What does it look like?
Who walks?
We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Walking's legal here.
I leave him for 2 hours and he turns native.
When did you arrive?
Now. Flew into Heathrow, picked up the car, here I am. But don't introduce me.
Larry Charles Larry, my manager.
Manager, gopher, nursemaid, I even wiped his...
Okay, Larry.
Has he been drinking?
No.
Good. Don't let him. So you want the bad news or the worst news?
God, start with the bad.
You're booked onto some talk show tonight.
We're rehearsing.
You're excused rehearsals. The producers want to milk you for publicity.
Terrific. And the worst news?
Electra's flying in to see you.
Oh, God, that's all I need.
She wants a one-on-one.
Ever heard of Skype?
She can't smell your fear on Skype.
Can you keep her away?
Not for long. I gotta check in. Want to ride?
No, we're good.
You say so. Suckers.
God damn it.
When you said married to the mob, you didn't actually... I mean, she's not...
Oh, really... Mafia? No, I wish. You know we are with wise guys. Electra's much scarier than that.
Evening.
You've just missed Baron Hardlop on Graham Norton.
Oh, Ken said he was doing a talk show tonight.
How come he was on the South Bank and you then just got back?
His manager drove him.
Can't see Morris doing that for you.
Please. I need something to take away the taste of train coffee. Drink?
I've got cocoa.
Has it come to this?
With a shot of brandy.
Aha, now you're talking. So how'd he come across?
He started quite shy and introspective, and then he came on all Donald Trump, NRA, trying to make a case for the Second Amendment.
Really?
He collects guns.
Well, who knew? He doesn't seem the type. How'd that play with the crowd?
You could hear a cold easterly blowing straight through the studio.
Oh, I hope he hasn't killed ticket sales.
It warmed up again when he got onto his disastrous marriages. Speaking of which, you're going to be around for Christmas?
Just the main event. We've got shows either side.
I'd kind of like to know if I'm going to have a full house. I still haven't heard from Juliet.
Well, there's time.
It starts to gallop around now. Before you know it, you're pulling crackers and staring at a mountain of washing up.
I like a quiet Christmas.
But I really fancy doing it big this year. Push the boat out, all the trimmings while Ollie's still young, and we're compos mentis.
Speak for yourself.
We're not getting any younger.
Middle age is starting to grow on me.
Middle?
The deep peace of my single bed after the hurly-burly of the chaise longue.
A little less chaise longing in your youth, you still enjoy the hurly-burly of my double.
You've only got to ask.
Don't hold your breath.
You don't know what you're...
I really do, and I'm not missing it.
On which note, I'll bid you a sweet good night. Early start tomorrow.
Night-night.
Each morning I skipped breakfast, saving myself for the Epicurean delights of Margate's Regency Cafe.
Usual, Charles?
Do you do seaweed scramble and tonka beans on sprouted grain toast with a wheatgrass and spirulina frappe?
No.
Usual, then. And 2 double espressos.
In one cup?
Of course. A speeding car bounced the curb, pulled up without indicating, and narrowly missed an irate cyclist. Oh. Charles Paris, Lord of the Dance.
Lord of the Flies, more like.
Bit early for you, Morris.
I work 24/7. I just don't bother calling you till opening time.
What do you want?
Just touching base to let you know I'm chasing your BBC fee. Apparently, a business affairs exec was having a minor procedure, and her assistant was on an outsourcing course. So you slipped through the net. But you're very much back in the system.
Good to know.
1 double egg, double bacon, double sausage, double hash brown on white.
And 1 double bypass. Speak soon.
Barely 10 into my 2,000 calories, I saw Ken hurrying across the road. Not in the mood for a Stanislavskian analysis of Baron Hardup's relationship with his daughters, I hunched over my plate. I needn't have bothered. The curb jumper's window wound down, and an agitated Larry handed an agitated Ken a parcel, which Ken shoved into his coat pocket before the car sped off.
Everything okay, love?
It was a good question, but not one to ruin a decent breakfast. Josie was running a dance rehearsal in an upstairs room, while downstairs they were reheating an old traditional quick change scene. As I wasn't needed for either, I sat in to watch the Ugly Sisters and the Baron.
Oh, I am looking forward to the Prince's Ball tonight, aren't you, Nausea?
Yeah. I wonder what I should wear.
Let's ask Daddy. Daddy! Ooh, Daddy!
Hey, come on. All right, girls. Keep it down, huh? They can hear you, in the town.
Nausea and I need your help, Daddy.
Look, I've been telling you for years. You need help.
That's nice, isn't it, dyspepsia?
What was that, Nausea?
That's nice, isn't it, dyspepsia?
Sorry, can we stop a sec? Tad, I missed your line.
I said it.
I thought you had a frog in your throat.
I said it twice.
Yes, dear, but if I can't hear my cue...
Man.
It was a genuine clash of cultures. Danny, an old-school belter, versus 2 new-age mumblers.
My center?
Oh.
I'm feeling kind of unrooted about exactly who Baron Hardup really is, as a character.
Once again, rehearsals ground to a halt. And while our director took Tad and Ken aside for a deep analysis of effervescent panto acting, I nipped out to the car park.
Naughty.
Oh, Danny.
Give us a nip and I won't tell.
Yeah.
Oh. Holy Mary, I have never worked so hard in my life, and I've played second house at the Liverpool Empire. You know what it is?
What?
Too much telly. On one side, I've got Ken mumbling like a pound shop Brando. On the other, Tad stands there doing that stupid bloody pout some stylist told him was sexy. That's why they only ever shoot him from the same angle.
While Danny ranted, I became aware of a short woman in a red plastic rain cape watching us from across the car park.
They get away with it on screen, but not on stage.
Oh, don't turn around, Danny, but I think we're being watched.
I said don't... Oh, hello, Gloria. Sorry, dear. He won't be out for hours. And off she trots.
I thought we were rebooting Don't Look Now. Who is she?
Ken's #1 fan.
How do you know this stuff?
I bother to read the notice board.
They put notices up about stalkers.
Gloria's not a stalker. Well, she is a stalker. Just harmless and starstruck. Starstruck over a charisma-free zone like Ken. The world's gone stark-raving mad. And if he and Tad don't speak up, so will I.
Keep the change.
What have we got here?
Oh, excuse me, the stage doorman at the theater said Cinderella rehearsals are here, is that right?
That's right.
Oh, could one of you point me towards the rehearsal room? I'm here to see Ken.
Well...
Don't worry. I'm definitely not a fan. I'm Electra, his wife.
Allow me. Loving the gold trainers.
On first sight, Electra wasn't the monster Ken described. Of course, you should never judge a book by its cover, but the dust jacket was certainly arresting.
Oh! Sorry, Charles.
Oh.
Bit of a hurry. Anyone ask? I got a publicity shoot. Hit the gas, Larry.
Where'd he go? Bastard!
Steady on.
Oh, not you. That lousy son of a...
I'm Charles, by the way.
Charles, by the way?
No, my name's,
Yeah, I get it. Joke.
Joke. Right, yeah, sure.
God, I didn't realize Notting Hill was a documentary.
Yeah, right, no, sorry. Well, looks like rehearsals are over for the day.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Charles, but, I could use a drink.
Oh.
I'm buying.
Ah.
Seated by a window in the Seaview bar of the Grand Hotel, Electra got straight down to business.
Has Ken fallen off the wagon yet?
Not as far as I know.
He will.
Well, I'll try and keep an eye on him.
I never could.
Huddled in a bus shelter opposite, I made out a figure in a red rain cape. It was Gloria, eating a sandwich and staring up at the hotel.
If it's not drink, it'll be drugs or sex or gambling. People like Ken always find something to replace the last addiction.
It must be difficult.
Oh, British understatement. We are way past difficult. Why else do you think I'm in Margate, for God's sake?
Don't lawyers deal with divorce?
Let me tell you about lawyers.
Electra was clearly an old hand at extricating herself from failed marriages. But as old hands went, she was looking good on it with a brand new Disney princess nose and top-of-the-range cheekbones.
Ken's team are playing dirty, saying I was violent and threatened him. Well, excuse me, but I'm not the one loosing off semi-automatics at 3 a.m. That is what happens when Viagra fails. Oh, too much information?
I'm British. We don't tend to share till we've known someone for at least 4 decades.
I didn't mean to embarrass you. Oh, it's pathetic. He's got more firearms than the National Guard. Never goes anywhere without one.
Well, he won't have one here.
If you can pay for it, you can have whatever you want. Oh, I gotta take this. Larry, you got my 15 voicemails and decided to answer my calls this decade.
All the talk of guns reminded me of seeing Larry parked outside the Regency Cafe. Was the package you gave to Ken gun-sized? Then again, as Larry did everything for Ken, it might have been a ham sandwich.
My suite at the Grand tonight.
Looked heavy for a ham sandwich, though.
Oh, fix the goddamn meeting, Larry. Fix it now. I'll expect your call. Oh, jerk. I need another drink. Charles?
But I made my excuses and left. Whatever happened in Electra's suite that night, Ken was still mumbling his lines the next day and seemed to have lost all focus before disappearing completely. By lunch, Danny was on the verge of a stroke, so I sloped off to the captain's cabin.
Hey, look who it is. Hey, you got a light?
With 3 empty glasses on the table and work in progress on a 4th, Ken had fallen off the wagon, climbed back on and tumbled headfirst into a vat of vodka. Electra had been right.
God, you forget just how fantastic booze is.
Well, how about we get some food to soak it up?
Hey, you want to join me, but do not tell me what to do.
Ken launched into a rambling, self-pitying monologue, whining about the soul-destroying nature of fame, the grasping unfairness of the IRS, ending up on the cruelties of women.
And they never forget a damn thing. You get together, you have a good time, then you split up. No big deal. Let it go already. But no. They stash it away, and they drag it out again years later to use against you.
Did you meet up with Electra?
God, did I? She really gave it to me with both barrels. Don't get married, Charles.
Well, I am married.
Well, don't get divorced.
We're sort of past that stage.
Hey, you got any coke?
Diet or straight?
Come on, you know what I mean.
How about a bag of crisps?
Look, come on, let's go somewhere.
Nuts.
Well, I admit I have personal anger issues.
No, dry salted or pork scratch. Have you ever had a pork scratch?
Where the hell's Larry?
I don't know.
He'll get me what I want.
What if Larry's package wasn't a gun, but cocaine? But surely even Ken couldn't have got through that amount already, unless it was a gun and cocaine.
Come on, let's get out of here. Where do you want to go? My tree.
Actually, we should get back.
Nah, they won't mind.
I think they will.
Tomorrow we rehearse. Today I'm having fun.
While Ken had fun, the rest of us rehearsed long and late. Whatever else our star had got up to, he hadn't made himself any friends.
We should be fine, providing we do the show without the Baron.
I tell you, bruv, it's... What's the one that's not professional?
Unprofessional?
That's it.
The trouble is he's been allowed to get away with bad behaviour for too long.
It's an LA thing. No one will stand up to them in case they lose the job.
Let me guess. Ken? I tell you, I've worked with some egos, but I do not know where this guy gets off.
I need a vape. Anyone?
I just want to get my head down.
Later.
Night.
Night. Tad's no Einstein and he can't act to save his life, but at least he turns up on time and he tries. Right, bedways is best ways for me.
Danny, it's so late. Does that offer still stand?
You don't have to ask, Charlie. I'll pop you in Charles' Hawtrey.
After 2 or 3 nightcaps, I bade Danny good night, slipped in between the Egyptian cotton sheets, and was soon dead to the world.
Oh, what? If this is about missold PPI...
Charles, it's me, Ken. Can we talk?
It's 25 to 2.
Please, Charles. I need help.
Where are you?
I'm on the beach.
The beach?
Please, Charles.
Where on the beach? The Turner Contemporary loomed behind me as I trudged down onto the wind-blown sand, the torch on my phone lighting the way.
Ken! It's Charles!
The tide was out, but on the turn, and then my beam caught a figure leaning back against the concrete sea break.
Oh, for God's sake, Ken, you're not in Venice Beach now. Come on, let's get you... Oh, God!
Ken wasn't going anywhere.
Oh, bloody smartphones.
My fumbling fingers hit the in case of emergency icon.
Ambulance. There's a man on the beach. I think...
And Charles attempts to find out who wanted Ken dead and, more importantly, whether he's still got a job at the same time next week. After the news, Witness recalls a US prison riot in 1971. Carlos Roche, a former prisoner who took part in the uprising, explains what happened on
Radio 4, this Sunday afternoon at 4:30.
BBC News at midday. The former leader of the Liberal Democrats, Nick Clegg, says the party's victory in the Richmond Park by-election should send a clear message to the Prime Minister not to ignore the views of those who voted to remain in the European Union. The party's candidate, Sarah Olney, who admitted she hadn't expected to beat the former Conservative MP Zac Goldsmith, who stood as an independent in protest at the government's decision to give the go-ahead to a third runway at Heathrow. Ms Olney, who fought the campaign on Brexit, polled nearly 1,900 votes more than Mr Goldsmith, who voted to leave the EU. Nick Clegg said Theresa May should take note of the result.
Yes, of course she has a mandate which she must pursue to pull the United Kingdom out of the European Union. But she mustn't run roughshod over almost half of people who voted back in the summer who do want their voice heard. And I think the message to the government is you can't just sort of charge headlong towards hard Brexit, without providing some kind of, or giving some care and duty and attention to those who think otherwise.
The Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has backed Donald Trump's calls for NATO countries in Europe to increase defence spending. Mr Johnson said every NATO member should meet the alliance's agreed target of spending 2% of national income on defence.
President-elect Donald Trump has a point. It cannot be justified that one NATO ally, America, accounts for about 70% of the alliance's defence spending, while the other 27 countries manage only 30% between them.
A former Chelsea footballer has said the club paid him £50,000 on the condition that he made no public statement when he told them he'd been sexually abused by one of the club's scouts in the 1970s. In an interview with the Daily Mirror, Gary Johnson said he was assaulted hundreds of times by Eddie Heath, who's since died. He told the newspaper that the club didn't want to be tainted by what happened to him.
From the off, I wasn't going along them lines of any compensation whatsoever. Yeah. So for them to pay the money that they paid with an order tells you...
The Killer by Jeremy Front, based on the novel by Simon Brett.
You're in shock, Mr. Paris.
I'm okay.
Sit in the car for a few
I'm
minutes.
all right, really.
Let's not take any chances. We'll wrap this around you. Keep yourself warm.
As I'm never likely to run a marathon, I accepted DCI Naylor's offer of a silver space blanket. Wrapped up like a Christmas turkey, I fumbled for the quarter of bells I keep for emergencies. Emergencies like finding actors shot through the forehead.
How are you feeling now, Mr. Paris? Up to answering a few questions?
I could murder a cup of tea. I'm obviously not murder.
We'll make you one down at the station.
Station. Right. Yeah, sure.
You say you weren't close to Mr. Polizzi,
Well, we'd only just started working together.
and yet he called you for help. Why would he do that?
Well, we got on reasonably well.
I get on reasonably well with my chief super, but I wouldn't call her at 2 a.m.
Well, actors are like that. You meet in the morning, by the afternoon you're in bed together.
You're saying you had a sexual relationship with Mr. Polizzi?
In bed professionally. No, that sounds wrong. Start again. We strike up instant friendships because we're quickly thrown into intimate situations.
You say your phone rang at...
About 25 to 2.
And then what happened?
I told DCI Naylor how Ken Polizzi had gone on an all-day bender and how we'd rehearsed so late without him that Danny Fitz had put me up in his B&B. Finally, I told her how Ken phoned me, sounding desperate.
So, you traipsed all the way across Margate in the early hours for a man you hardly knew?
Yeah, but I knew he'd been drinking, and I knew he shouldn't have been.
He told you he had a drink problem?
I said we get personal quickly, but Ken's personal problems are well known. He talks about them on chat shows.
Can you think of any reason why he might have started to drink again?
Well, he was in the middle of a messy divorce.
We're trying to contact his wife.
She's here.
His wife's in Margate?
Well, ex-wife. Except she's not ex because they weren't yet divorced, but I suppose now he's dead she is his ex. Sorry, it's been a long day. Her name's Electra and she's staying at the Grand.
Thank you, Mr. Paris. You've been very helpful. I think we can let you get some sleep now, although we may want to ask you a few more questions.
I managed to claw back a couple of hours kip at Danny's place till the cloyingly beautiful smell of a full English eased me out of a deep slumber.
Tomato, mushroom, sausage, bacon and eggs in the warmer. Help yourself.
I've died and gone to heaven. Binging on cholesterol, I filled Danny in on the breaking news. For the first few minutes he kept up an appearance of genuine shock. Then the survival instinct kicked in.
Well, that cinder's up the Swanee.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, come on, Charles. Ken was a star attraction. Without him, they'll cut their losses.
That was delicious. If I wasn't so drearily binary, I'd propose marriage.
You're too late.
I didn't know you'd tied the knot.
Last year.
Congratulations.
He cooked you breakfast.
Well, he's a definite keeper.
Oh, don't you worry about that. You'd better ring your agent.
What about you?
Oh, at least we've got a few guests booked in for winter breaks. They'll pay more than Panto. Oh, that's stage management's number. Tenor says we're out on our asses.
If you're right, I can't afford a tenor. Danny held on to his tenor, for the time being at least. The plug hadn't been pulled, but the show was on life support. With rehearsals suspended, I returned to London and got back to find Francis putting on a brave phone face.
I picked up something Ukrainian from the corner shop.
What a wonderful surprise!
There's a nice greeting.
Shh! No. It's just Charles walking in.
Who is it?
Oh, yes, they'll love it. I think it's a great idea, Miles.
Oh, God. Husband to my daughter, father to my grandchild, Miles was the son-in-law I'd never wanted.
No, don't be silly. Of course I don't mind.
Francis wasn't in the business, but this performance would give any actor a run for their money.
Don't worry, I won't let on. Mum's the word. OK, Miles. Thanks for letting me know. Bye.
Everything all right?
Uh-huh.
Do I take it they're not coming for Christmas?
Uh-huh.
And you're okay with that? Francis?
Just popping into the other room.
I'll open the,
Self-centered, self-satisfied, puffed up, pompous, control-freaking, monkey-ass prig!
Yeah. Crimean Calvados?
Hit me. Again.
Going for the hat trick?
Definitely.
Cheers.
The one time I decide to really make the effort to get the whole family together... Juliet knew what I was trying to arrange.
But does she know what Miles is doing?
It's a surprise. Christmas in St. Lucia. The king of grand gestures strikes again.
The super dad found a few quid down the back of the sofa.
Bonus. Last year, skiing in Closters. The year before, they stayed with his friend, the Laird of Mug.
Next year, the International Space Station.
When we're dead, Olive won't have any memories of family Christmases.
Well, she's welcome to mine.
That was your family. My childhood Christmases were fun.
As Frances described her wonderful past life, a Frank Capra melancholy began to set in.
Come on, Frances, we'll be around a few years yet.
Oh, don't come on, Pollyanna with me.
I've always had a sunny disposition.
Obscured by heavy rain and cloud. What child wants Christmas in the Caribbean?
Caribbean child?
I bet she'd prefer a stocking at the end of the bed.
Providing it's packed with £3 worth of high-end tech.
Olive's not like that. She'd much rather go to a carol concert.
This isn't the box of delights. Kids don't want the Bishop of Tatchester popping around with the Punch and Judy man, and the parents wouldn't let him in unless they'd been CRB checked.
All I wanted was a traditional Christmas. Drink fizz before breakfast. Immolated turkey. Trip to the panto.
Just don't book tickets for mine.
What have you done?
Nothing, apart from finding our star dead on the beach.
What? Why didn't you say?
I didn't want to interrupt the ghost of Christmases past.
That's shocking.
You're telling me.
It definitely wasn't your fault.
No, Francis, it wasn't. I found the poor sod on the beach with a bullet through his head. Crimean Calvados.
No, it's starting to change my colour perception.
The label looks kosher.
Like you read Cyrillic. It probably says medical use only.
Well, medical sounds healthy. Merry Christmas.
I hate Christmas.
You love it.
Not anymore. It's ruined.
Oh, come on now. Go and run yourself a bath. I'll make something to eat.
I'm not hungry.
As I didn't have a seaside B&B to see me through the hard times, I took Danny's advice, rang my agent and left a message. And then another message. And another. And another. The next day, I decided on a course of direct action.
Sandwich for Mr. Skellen. It's too early for lunch.
Don't be ungrateful. There are agents starving in this world.
How the hell did you get past reception?
A baseball cap and a courier bag get you in anywhere these days.
Oh, my God. Lycra shorts?
Francis wears these to the gym.
There goes 10 years therapy.
I must say, I feel not unpleasantly contained.
Please.
No, I'm all about the bass, no treble.
Oh.
I got that boom, boom that all the boys
This
chase.
is a glass
all the right
office.
junk in all the right places.
Stop gigging about before I'm sick or my staff sue me.
Sausage baguette.
After what I've just seen.
You got to eat, Mo. What about a falafel wrap?
Just wrap yourself.
Here's the deal. I've got a pair of trousers in the bag. I'll put them on when and only when you tell me why you haven't answered any of my calls.
I hate to disabuse you, but I do have other clients.
They'll be the ones who get all the work.
They're the ones who can hold down a job without a colleague unaccountably dying.
You heard.
Charles Paris, stage name The Angel of Death. And while you're thinking of a riposte, I was actually about to call you.
Of course you were.
I was, and with glad tidings.
What?
Trousers first. Over the shorts, Charles.
All right.
Sorry, Pixie. Are you trying to get me sued for inappropriate behaviour in the workplace?
What's wrong with this generation? I spent most of the 1970s acting in the nude.
I still have nightmares about your Winslow boy.
Were you this prudish at school?
I was excused nakedness.
There. Happy?
Thank you. So, I had a call from your producers, and wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, Cinderella lives.
Yes.
There's more. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Drop the jeopardy and cut to the chase.
They want you to take over Baron Hardup.
You're kidding.
That's what I said.
Shyster.
Before I reassured them they couldn't have found a better replacement for Ken.
Oh.
At late notice.
I really hate you sometimes.
Only sometimes our late sessions must be working.
Just tell me if the money rises with the billing.
Oh, imagine the beaming faces of kiddies in the front row. You'll be making their Christmas. Isn't that reward enough? All right, Charles, I'll see what I can do.
And while you're at it, I still haven't been paid for that BBC poetry reading 7 months ago.
You do know there are people who'd give their right arm for your job.
Not if it was being twisted by an agent like you.
What about my falafel wrap?
I'll buy you another one when you've negotiated a raise. By the time rehearsals resumed, the sets were up. So while dance rehearsals continued at the church hall, the actors moved onto the stage. Stepping into the Baron's slippers, I also inherited his understudy and, more importantly, his dressing room. Scotch in the drawer. Wine in the fridge. Home sweet home. Yep.
You busy?
Just running my lines. Having risen from the ranks of constructed reality, Tad's first real acting job was as Nausea, one of Cinderella's ugly sisters.
Nice room, bruv.
Yeah.
I'm sharing with Danny.
Probably a bigger room.
Smaller?
Oh. Well, they like to put the dames in the same dressing room. It's a theatrical tradition.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Absolute cobblers, made up on the hoof to stop the boy eyeing my dressing room like a wounded puppy with low self-esteem.
So, shot through the head.
Ken.
Bummer.
One way of putting it.
Makes you think.
A new and disconcerting experience for Tad.
Like, one day you're alive, next day...
It's a chastening thought.
Which one's chastening?
Makes you think.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I thought it merited repeating. Well, I suppose I'd better get on.
You've done all right out of it?
Out of what?
Bigger part, bigger dressing room.
Sorry?
Just saying.
Are you saying you think I shot Ken?
Nah. Why? Did you?
No.
Cool.
Not cool. Not at all cool to suggest I'd commit murder for a part in a dressing room.
You got to admit it. It is nice in here, bruv.
Not shoot a bloke in the head nice.
Just saying.
Well, stop saying.
It's not just me.
What do you mean?
Social media.
People are talking about me on the internet?
The internet?
What?
I'd like the way old people said it.
I am not... What are people saying?
You know what happened, who done it?
They better not be saying I'd done it.
Nah, well, some are.
There are laws.
There are laws. Oh, I loved it when you go all posh.
I am not posh, I'm RP.
Oh, I'm an atheist.
God help me. Look, Tad, if some trolls are saying I shot Ken for a part in a bloody panto...
They're saying other stuff too, like it was a mafia hit.
In Margate?
Come on, Polizzi. You do the maths.
A, it's not maths, and B, an Italian name does not automatically mean mafia.
Who knows the ways of the Cosa Nostra? Just putting it out there.
Do yourself a favour and take it back in.
Paris, Mr. Fitz, Mr. Mullish to the stage, please.
Well.
Girls, what on earth's all the noise?
Over there! A big, horrible thing!
That's no way to talk about your sister. Not me! Well, spit it out.
The ghost!
Ghost? There's no such thing as ghosts.
Oh, yes, there is.
Oh, no, there isn't.
Walk down stage, talk to audience. Did you see a ghost, girls and boys? Blah, 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 blah. I can't hear you.
Taking over Baron Hardup meant more scenes with Danny's ugly sister, and it was sheer joy watching a panto master doing what he did best.
One double bells, one packet dry salted.
Thanks.
Nasty old business the other night.
Yeah.
You were in here with him lunchtime.
You've got a good memory.
I remember he was hammered.
Were you still working in the evening?
I was as it goes, why?
I just wondered if he came back in with anyone else.
I don't think so. Hang on. Shelley! That young character what got shot, did he come back the other night? Nah. And she'd have remembered because she loved him.
Really?
Oh, yeah, proper fancied the nuts off him.
You put me off my dry salted.
Hey, do you know anything about that mad bint leaving flowers and whatnot all over town?
Gloria?
Is that her name?
Ken Polizzi's biggest fan.
Well, mad as a box of frogs, if you ask me.
Psychiatry's loss was hospitality's gain.
She come in, bold as brass, asked me if I'd rename the saloon the Ken Polizzi Lounge.
I take it you said yes.
Charles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Kitty.
Kitty.
From the chorus?
Kitty! Sorry, I've got a terrible memory.
Oh, it's all right. We don't get to see the actors unless we're doing a number together.
Strangely, they won't let me anywhere near a dance line. Seems the world's not ready for the kind of shapes I throw. Do you want a drink?
I'm looking for a friend, but yeah, go on.
I bought Kitty a vodka and slimline, and it was only polite to refuel my own.
Cheers.
Cheers. Is it a man?
Sorry?
The friend.
Oh, no, it's Josie, the swing captain.
I know. I say no. We had a brief chat in here.
Today?
No, first day of rehearsals.
Oh.
She mainly came over to renew her acquaintance with Ken.
Wonder where they'd met.
Well, I got the impression Ken wasn't too sure either. Josie said it was in LA, but he didn't seem to remember.
She did go out there about 10 years ago.
When she was Willow Green.
What?
Isn't that the name she was using back then?
New one on me. I'll have to ask her about that, if she ever bothers to turn up.
What time are you meeting?
We're not...
Well, I thought...
I've not seen her all day, and I thought she might be in here.
Well, what about rehearsals?
Exactly. I had to stand in for her today. She didn't even call in sick, and her phone just goes to voicemail.
She's probably gone for a sneaky casting. We've all done it.
No, Josie's incredibly professional.
That put me in my place.
It's more likely to be a bloke. Bit of a roller coaster love life, our Josie. Bad chooser.
Well, if I see her, I'll let you know.
All right, let me give you my number.
Yeah. Kitty left the pub with that ramrod foot-flicky walk only dancers can carry off. I finished my scotch, then finished another, and was fast approaching the drinker's event horizon when... Charles Paris School of Spiritual Enlightenment.
Charles, Electra.
Oh, hi. I was going to call you to say how sorry I am.
Oh, that's nice, Charles, but we both know I won't be playing the grieving widow.
Yeah.
So, can we meet?
Meet?
For a drink.
Yeah, sure. When did you...
How about now?
Yeah. Now's good. On my way to meet Electra, I noticed more of Gloria's handiwork. Ken's superfan had propped a laminated headshot of her idol outside the festival playhouse. Against a fierce easterly, she doggedly lit and relit tea lights. Sisyphus in a plastic rain cape.
Help yourself to champagne.
A half-empty bottle of Cliquot was slumped in an ice bucket.
And pour one for me.
Our last meeting had been in the Grand Hotel's Sea View bar. This time, we were in Electra's suite. The decor was a Trump voter's idea of sumptuous, so I guess Trumptuous.
Sorry to keep you.
Electra came out of the bedroom dressed in black. These weren't widow's weeds. The style was boudoir meets crematorium, and the signals she sent were very much chapel of unrest.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers.
You spoke to the cops?
I was the one who found Ken.
Oh, of course, the first person on the scene.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, Ken called me just after 2:30, and it took me 20 minutes or so to get down to the beach, so who knows how many people walked past and thought he was just a drunk.
They'd have been right.
Morning didn't become Electra.
Margate is no Venice Beach. Who walks through the surf at 2 a.m. in November?
Fair point. Any idea why he started drinking again?
No, he was destined to start again. Guys like Ken always are. So, who do you think did it?
Well, I really have no idea. You knew Ken better than me.
Oh, here. Open another one.
Already impaired by a migraine-inducing mix of scotch and fizz, I knew a runaway train when I saw it, and I knew I had to uncouple myself from this one ASAP.
You not having any?
I'll catch up.
What about people in the company? Had Ken pissed anyone off? I mean, more than he pissed off everyone.
Well, not that I noticed. In fact, I'd say he went out of his way to be modest. You know, one of the gang.
Now I know you're joking.
No, I mean it.
Oh, he was playing you, Charles. Ken was a manipulator. That humble routine wouldn't have lasted.
Well, he could be a little intense.
Mind games.
I thought he was just taking his work seriously.
God forbid I should talk ill of the dead, but sooner or later you'd have seen the real Ken. Trust me. For your sake, it's as well he died when he did.
I'd hate to be around when you do speak ill of the dead.
I'm not a hypocrite, so sue me. Come on. No hard feelings. To Ken.
Ken.
Have I redeemed myself in those blue eyes?
Well, they're teal, and who am I to judge?
Cute.
No sooner had we drained our glasses than Electra filled them again. This was a real ice bucket challenge.
I just want to know who the bastard was that killed him before I did. Joke, Charles.
One of the actors told me there's a lot of internet chatter.
Oh, when isn't there? Say apples are better than pears and a troll starts typing in Mama's basement.
Word is it was a mafia hit.
In Margate?
Exactly what I said. Did Ken have any criminal connections?
An alcoholic with a coke habit and a taste for crystal meth. Let me think.
So he may have got involved with some iffy characters here in the UK.
Iffy? If iffy means crooks, then yeah. More likely he'd have got Larry the lapdog to do it for him. What kind of a man lets himself be pushed around like that?
You're not a fan of Larry's management style.
Manager? Would your manager run around the streets scoring dope for you?
Morris isn't that kind of streetwise. He's very much a white-collar criminal.
When Ken said jump, Larry jumped. But that's what he was paid for, and he was paid well.
The last time you and I met here, you were arranging to meet Ken that night.
So?
How did that go?
I clarified my conditions of divorce. I told him he may as well call off his attack lawyers. I'm younger, healthier, and always play a long game, so I will get what I want.
How did Ken respond?
Well, at least he didn't cry this time.
And after that, he left here and hit the source.
I'm not taking the rap for Ken's lack of self-control. I'm well aware that I've drunk a lot more champagne than you, but the difference between me and Ken is that I remain in full control at all times.
Yes, I don't doubt it. Do you know if he went on to meet anyone else that evening?
Why would I? You want to know what I think happened to Ken? Some people are drawn to the dark side, and when people hide in the shadows, something in the shadows will come for them. I had to say that in a bad remake of a worse movie.
Sorry, I should have known you.
No, you shouldn't. I was an actress, past tense. Then I hit 30 and became invisible overnight.
Not to Ken.
It was a buyer's market. How about you, Charles?
Me?
Am I invisible to you?
Oh, well...
I'd say not, from the way you've been straining to keep your eyes on face level.
You know, you're really quite scary.
Oh, good. So tell me, how do you feel about shallow, meaningless sex?
I won't pretend I wasn't flattered, tempted even. But then I experienced what I can only describe as a revelation. The image of a wreath floated into my head. Not an intimation of mortality, but the festive wreath Frances hangs on her front door every year. And in that moment I remembered how upset she'd been about the family not coming for Christmas. How could I add to her woes?
I wouldn't have said it if I hadn't meant it. I know. But it'd just be me and Charles, and he's in Panto. So he'll only be here on Christmas Day.
Oh, the spectre at the feast.
Please say yes. We'll get drunk as skunks and have some fun. It'll be like student days, with osteoporosis. Great. Yeah. Speak soon. Bye. Bye.
What's all this?
Izzy.
Izzy and Merlin?
It's now Izzy without Merlin.
She was always too good for that pretentious git.
He died yesterday.
Oh.
Massive heart attack.
Ah.
While screwing Izzy's Pilates instructor.
And they say Pilates isn't strenuous.
He was 60, she was 22.
Well, if you've got to go...
It's not funny.
No.
Izzy's completely cut up.
I bet.
All on her own.
Right.
With Christmas coming up.
I can see where this is going.
It is a time of giving.
Presumably what Merlin told the Pilates teacher shortly before she gave him a coronary.
I was planning a full house, and as the family have bumped us, it'll be fun to entertain.
I can entertain you.
I won't even entertain the sort of entertainment you've got in mind.
Best not. You're right. Izzy's great. It'll be fun. Oh, it's me. Hello. Speaking? I'm back in London. Of course. 1 o'clock's fine. OK, bye. The cops want another chat about Ken. Why do they always make me feel like I've done something wrong?
If I'd lived your life, I'd be in a constant state of guilt.
Next day, we rehearsed all morning. Then at lunchtime, I grabbed a bacon roll and a coffee and bowled over to see DCI Naylor. I hope you don't mind me eating, but we don't get much lunch break, and I've spent all morning working up a bit of business with a speciality dog act.
You carry on. Congratulations, by the way.
Sorry?
I heard you'd been promoted.
Oh, hardly promoted.
You've been given the part that was Mr. Polizzi's.
Not another one hinting that I'd kill someone for a part.
Ah, yes. Before we start, we've spoken to everyone in the company except a girl called, Josie.
Josie, the swing captain.
You don't know where she might be?
No. But one of the other dancers was looking for her last night, a girl called Kitty. I've got her number on my phone. Here you go.
Thanks. I'll try her. Now, Mr. Paris. Drugs.
Not for me, thanks. I get acid flashbacks if I suck a Strepsil.
You said Mr. Polizzi had an alcohol problem. Do you know if that extended to other addictions?
I couldn't say.
He told you all about his drinking. Did he ever mention drugs?
Well, if he mentioned them, I never witnessed him taking any. Ken was dead, but his manager was very much alive, and I didn't feel it was for me to point the finger of suspicion at Larry. DCI Naylor could work that one out for herself.
Do you know if Mr. Polizzi owned a gun?
I believe he had quite a collection back in the States.
You don't know if he'd acquired one over here?
No. Well, I didn't. I had seen Larry hand Ken a gun-sized package, but that didn't mean there was a gun inside it. Could have been something innocent, like Class A drugs. Then again, it could have been drugs and a gun.
We're still looking for the weapon.
It's probably at the bottom of the sea.
Why do you say that?
I assume the killer would have chucked it out as far as possible. The finger I was trying not to point at others was now pointing at me. I mean, if I'd shot someone, which I didn't, but if I had, which I haven't...
No one's accusing you.
All I meant was I'd dispose of the gun quickly. Wouldn't you? It may have been the bacon roll, or the interview, or an unholy combination of the two, but something had given me terrible indigestion, so I hurried back to my dressing room for a stomach-soothing tincture.
Oh. Hang on. Yep.
Kitty.
Looks like we've both been promoted.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but I'm the new swing captain.
What about Josie?
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. It's been a long day and we're only halfway through.
Something's wrong. Josie would never go off without a word. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. Her panda's gone.
What?
She's got a lime green panda.
Oh, God. I had a weird image.
I thought maybe I was overreacting when I told the police, but they're taking it seriously and treating her as a missing person.
When did you last see her?
The day we all worked late. Josie was coming to mine for a takeaway. I fancied Indian, but she was in a Chinese mood, so we agreed to split the difference and go for Thai.
Food ethnicity aside, Kitty had flicked a switch and an old-fashioned valve flickered inside my head. She was describing the day Ken fell off the wagon, the same day I found him dead on the beach.
Josie said she had something to do and was going to come on after, but she never turned up.
My analog brain was slow to warm up, but the synapses had started firing. Did she say what it was she had to do?
No, I don't think so. Why?
She didn't say she was going to meet Ken.
No, but anyway, nobody knew where he'd gone.
As far as we know.
Charles?
What?
Well, Josie had her demons, but she wasn't a killer.
I didn't say she was. But it was too late. Kitty had used the K word and set me wondering if we were rehearsing a panto or in the middle of a murder mystery.
In episode 2 of Charles Paris, Charles was played by Bill Nye, Frances by Suzanne Burden, and Morris by John Glover. Danny was Sean Baker, Electra, Lorelei King, Tad, Sam Ricks, Kitty, Kirsty Oswald, DCI Naylor, Claire Perkins, and the barman, Tom Forrester. The Cinderella Killer was written by Jeremy Front, based on the novel by Simon Brett. The director was Sally Avens.
So, was it Josie who killed Ken? You can find out at the same time next week. Now, before the news, a word about making a difference.
Hello, I'm Miles Jupp. This year, the Christmas Appeal with St Martin in the Fields will be broadcast for the 90th time. Your money helps homeless people to receive shelter, food, aid and advice at The Connection at St Martin's and gives thousands of one-off crisis grants to vulnerable people across the UK through the Vicar's Relief Fund. Your generosity makes such a difference to the lives of thousands of people every year. So if you can, please support the BBC Radio 4 Christmas Appeal with St Martin in the Fields by donating online on the Radio 4 website. Thank you.
BBC News at midday. The man who's been investigating claims that Russia ran a state-sponsored program of sports doping has said that more than 1,000 athletes were involved in a conspiracy which went back to 2011 and continued until 2015. Professor Richard McLaren published an initial report earlier this year that led to more than 100 Russian athletes being barred from competing in the Rio Olympics. Today, Professor McLaren said he'd found evidence of an institutionalized and disciplined medal-winning conspiracy in both summer and winter sports and in the Paralympics. He said the program was at its height at the 2012 Olympics in London.
The Russian Olympic team corrupted the London Games on an unprecedented scale, the extent of which will probably never be fully established. The desire to win medals superseded their collective moral and ethical compass, and Olympic values of fair play.
83 potential suspects have been identified as part of investigations into historical child sexual abuse in football. Police forces say they're continuing to receive calls from possible victims and from people offering information. Here's our sports news correspondent, Richard Conway.
The National Police Chiefs Council say investigations span all tiers of football, from Premier clubs through to amateur. In all, 639 referrals have been received from an NSPCC helpline and directly from police forces. 83 potential suspects have been identified, with 98 football clubs impacted. A spokesman for the NSPCC called the figures shocking, saying they revealed the deeply disturbing extent of abuse that has been going on within football.
The United Nations is looking into reports that hundreds of men are missing after leaving rebel parts of the Syrian city of Aleppo and entering government-controlled areas. The UN says it's worried given Syria's terrible record of detention, torture and disappearances. Britain's trade deficit with the rest of the world narrowed sharply in October from almost £6 billion in September to just £2 billion. Our business correspondent Jonty Bloom explains the sharp change in fortune.
Earlier this week, the Office for National Statistics had to revise trade figures going back many months because of the misreporting of what it calls erratic items, including the trade in gold bullion. And this month's figures have been affected by extra data from several sources that came in later than usual. So this sharp improvement in the trade deficit should probably be taken.
This video was uploaded to the channel, Thinking Out Loud. Please like, comment and subscribe to the Thinking Out Loud channel. Thank you.
The Cinderella Killer by Jeremy Front, based on the novel by Simon Brett.
Daddy, help me now!
Oh, not again, the silly cow.
My hair's a mess, my dress is worse.
She's not going to make me speak in verse.
The fatal shooting of American star Ken Polizzi had been a setback for Cinderella's producers, but a promotion for me.
But Daddy!
What is it, dyspepsia?
I can't go to the ball like this.
I think you make a very good washerwoman.
But it's not fancy.
Overnight, I'd gone from broker's man to Baron Hardup, a move up the caste list and, with a bit of luck, the pay scale.
Just listen to them scream and shout. I'm off to the pub for a pint of stout.
And that was me till the slapstick kitchen scene, a pastiche of the Great British Bake Off, with me as Baron Hardup playing Paul Hollywood. As I'm the only person on the planet who doesn't find strangers baking cakes entertaining, I went up to my dressing room to do some research.
Bruschetta. Ciabatta. Focaccia. One-to-one adult chat line.
If I wanted an adult chat, I'd phone an adult.
I can't help being eternally youthful.
Oh, nurse, Walter Mitty needs his medication again.
What do you want, Francis?
We need to talk about Christmas.
That's a movie remake I didn't see coming.
I'm serious.
And I'm working.
I can smell the scotch from here.
I'm researching my character.
I didn't realise it was Mike Lee's Cinderella.
Have you just phoned to bust my sorry ass?
I phoned because parties don't organise themselves.
Hang on. What party? Last I heard it was a few people for Christmas lunch.
Yeah, well, few is a flexible term.
Exactly how flexible?
It's subjective.
This is not a tutorial.
It's a matter of context.
In the context of this party, on a scale from, say, us and your friend Izzy to, say, Glastonbury, how flexible is the term a few people?
I haven't done a final tot-up
There's
yet.
going to be a tot-up?
I was vainly hoping you might help out a bit.
Well, we're doing shows right up to Christmas Eve, but I'm sure I'll be able to buy some crisps.
That's a start.
Or make my mulled wine.
Great, just not the weapons-grade stuff.
Please, Francis, when it comes to drink, leave it with me.
And are you slipping nicely into Baron Hardup?
This is a traditional family panto. We'll have none of your smut here.
To the impure, all things are impure. I must say, I'm a little disappointed not to see you in drag.
Yeah, you and me both. The dames get all the best lines, and I know I could make a better job of it than some I could mention.
Isn't Danny the dame's dame?
Danny's an artist. He's the real deal, from his violet wig to his size 12 stilettos, but Tad couldn't bounce a joke off a page if it was made of rubber.
Well, he's not an actor, is he?
I'm not sure what he is. As far as I can tell, he's primarily known for a haircut and being one knife short of a cutlery drawer. Incoming text.
You better go, in case it's Morris.
Yeah, do me a favour. He's far too busy ordering Fortnum's hampers for his A-list clients. It wasn't from my agent, but a text from an unknown number. There were no words, just symbols. And you don't have to be a professor of semiotics to read general hostility into a red, frowny face, thumbs down, and a gun. What I needed was someone fluent in emoji.
Off stage right and off stage right and lovely like me. Brilliant! And that's going to be a short break there, guys. Thank you. Hi, Charles. Any news on Josie?
Nothing I've heard.
I keep hoping she'll walk in with some balmy story about a bloke she's been with.
Well, maybe she will.
Tell the truth, I'm properly worried.
No one had seen Josie since she failed to turn up at Kitty's digs a few nights earlier. And now the police were treating her as a missing person.
This is so not like her.
How long have you known each other?
We were at Conti's together until she dropped out.
Why did she do that?
Well, you know, ambition. She was always in a hurry to grow up and start her career. So she bought a ticket to LA, said she'd be in touch. 6 months later, she was back and doing the rounds of cattle calls.
Sounds like she can look after herself.
That's the image she wants to project, but lots of kids have been knocked about, put on a tough act.
Was she knocked about?
Well, we all get battered by the business. Of course, she's always had the worst taste in men. Always actors.
You said.
And the worst sort. Self-obsessed, narcissistic, vain.
Yeah, I get the idea. Did she ever say any of them were violent?
I don't think so.
But you were close.
Well, very.
So she would have told you?
Oh, definitely. Probably. No, she would. Yeah, I'm sure she would.
You don't sound sure.
Well, I would have been until you told me she used a different name in the States, which is the first I've heard of it. Now I'm starting to question if I knew her at all. I think something must have happened in LA.
Like what?
Well, all I know is the Josie who came back wasn't the Josie who went out. She was harder.
But you don't think she met Ken out there?
If she did, she never told me. And you said Ken didn't remember her as Josie, or, what was it?
Willow Green. No, Ken said they'd never met, though the day she turned up in the pub, there was a look.
Look?
Like someone had walked over his grave.
Well, ever since we arrived in Margate, Josie was in really high spirits. Sorry, Charles. OK, guys, end of break. I better get on.
Sure. Oh, there was a reason I popped in. Someone sent me a text I wanted to run past you. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it.
Oh, who's it from?
No idea.
Bit threatening.
Well, it's probably my agent then.
Or a wrong number. I'd just ignore it.
Yeah. When I got back to my dressing room, my new costume was waiting. And although it wasn't as much fun as a dame's costume, I was thrilled to read a faded label inside the brocade coat. Dick Whittington. Frankie Howard. Well, it was good enough for you, Frankie.
Hello, what? Yes, who is it?
Oh, sorry, wrong number.
Nay, and thrice times nay.
Sorry?
Ooh, please yourself.
Is that you, Charles?
No, don't. It's wicked to mock the afflicted.
Oh, God, I suppose it was bound to happen one day.
I'm channeling Frankie Howard.
If that's Polari, don't tell me what it means. Right, I can give you 2 minutes max.
You phoned me.
Did I? Oh, yes, you're on my to-do list, but we'll have to make it snappy. I'm about to FaceTime L.A.
And you want to check my availability for a movie?
Cling to the dream, Charles. No, a bit of a situation, actually. Another client signed up for Game of Thrones, but had a psychodrama meltdown and wants to come home.
I'm available after January the 10th.
You're like a war profiteer.
Just trying to help.
Anyway, you're too tall.
I can
too old.
I can age down.
Wrong sex.
I can...
She's 21 and mostly nude.
Okay.
I don't think the throners would pay to see your scrawny cleavage.
Can't blame me for trying.
But the good news is I've managed to get your money up.
For Cinderella?
For that BBC poetry reading you did.
That was 7 months ago.
As I forcibly explained and told them it's inexcusable to treat a talent like this.
Good for you.
They don't want to cross me.
No.
Not if they want to access my star clients.
And deflate.
Suffice it to say, after an exchange of increasingly heated emails, they agreed to increase your fee.
Great.
By £1.
Per minute?
Overall.
£1?
That's quite an achievement these days.
Remind me what percentage you take?
In the words of our once glorious leader, we're all in it together.
Some of us are in it more than others, and we're in it up to our necks. What about the Cinderella contract? Now I'm Baron Hardup.
Ah, your billing's moved up the posters.
My billing doesn't pay the bills. What about the money?
This is Maurice Skellen in London. Good to see ya.
What?
Conference call. Bye, Charles.
Once again, Morris had driven me to drink, followed by an austerity roll-up outside a chilly stage door. Trouble with emojis, they're heavy on inference but light on context. I was trying to clarify what was meant by a knife, skull and coffin when...
Oh, really? Well, we'll see about that.
Whoa! Sorry, mate.
You all right?
Yeah, nah, I'm not as it goes.
Tad Mullish was the star of constructed reality soapumentary Sun, Fun and Formentera.
I could use a vape.
I can offer you a ciggy.
Nah, I got one here. Somewhere.
Tad was all about the hair, and something serious must have happened for his sweep to have unswept.
Oh, that's better.
Smells sweet.
Banoffee pie. Man, I tell you, Tad is not happy.
Oh.
Not happy at all.
Oh.
Not one bit.
You sound pretty unhappy.
Oh, that's it, bruv. Unhappy it. You got it. Unhappy's about right. I'm proper unhappy.
We were becoming trapped in an eternal circle of Beckettian repetition.
Well, what's happened?
You see the posters?
No, not yet.
He led me round to the front of the theatre and pointed up at a garish poster. There was his huge grinning face and the billing Tad Mullish from TV's Sun, Fun and Formentera.
What's the problem?
You're joking me, right? I left Sun, Fun and Formentera end of last season.
Season, not series. As if the word season alone was enough to win it a Golden Globe.
I've got my own YouTube channel now. Tad tells it straight.
Is that tells with a Z and straight with a figure 8?
You seen it?
Well, who hasn't?
I hadn't. I can think of better and more pleasurable ways to destroy brain cells.
The viewing figures for Sun, Fun and Formentera are like 250k. Tad tells it straight's got like 5 million subscribers.
I squinted at the poster.
I'm bringing in the audience and they can't be bothered to plug my channel.
My name was in a tiny font underneath the crisp manufacturer sponsoring the show.
This is disrespect, bruv.
So much for Morris's idea of a move up the billing. Then again, I didn't have a YouTube channel.
They treat me like a kid,
said the boy sucking virtual banoffee pie out of a tube.
I tell you, bruv, I'm not having it.
Yeah, it's bad. And I don't mean good bad. Not bad as in good.
You telling me it's bad? This is like serious.
Have you ever heard of a first world problem, Tad?
What, like hungry kids and shit?
Oh, lunchtime already.
Laters.
Tad wouldn't have known he was fulminating, but that's how I left him. If I walked fast enough, I could burn off the Regency Cafe's all-day gut-buster. Who was I kidding? In my hurry, I collided head-on with Ken Polizzi's biggest fan, concealed behind 6 metallic balloons printed with Ken's face.
You better not have burst him. Gloria, isn't it?
Recognizing the actor who'd taken Ken's role, the fan-stroke stalker flashed me a Medusa stare.
There's his.
What?
I can hear his.
Really?
The silver one's deflated.
Let's have a look.
Don't let go of it.
I'll try and re-inflate.
Oh, you can't. It's
sticking around long?
Till they release his body.
Of course.
I want to be here when he leaves.
Sorry about the balloon.
She snapped it and left, rain cape flapping, no doubt on her way to erect another memorial to Ken.
Huh? Hey, Charles.
I hadn't seen Ken's right-hand man since he'd helped him escape his litigious wife. A short while later, I'd found Ken dead on the beach.
What is it with you and walking?
I can't help it, Larry. I'm British. We evolved with legs.
Join me for lunch?
I've got to warn you, Baron Hardup can't afford fine dining.
Ah, the hell with that.
In that case, take the first left. Do you know much about Ken's stalker fan?
She's still hanging around.
Is she dangerous?
I've never spoken to her, but as stalkers go, she's Employee of the Month. Crazy but harmless. You're an actor. You know the type.
Well, the closest I've come to obsessive fans was being asked to sign a surgical stocking at Frinton Rep.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Take the next right. Double egg, double bacon, double sausage, double hash brown with beans and black pudding, please.
Got it. Sir?
The way Larry pushed the card aside, I just knew we were heading off menu.
Okay, so give me the bacon, lettuce, and tomato bap. What is a bap?
A roll.
A bread roll?
Well, what other kind of roll is there?
I don't do carbs.
I'll have your carbs.
What else have we got here?
Egg and chips.
Carbs.
Ham, egg and chips.
Carbs.
Spaghetti on toast.
That's carbs on carbs.
Well, how about an omelette?
Okay, here we go. So, do me a single organic egg white omelette with...
A what?
I'm on statins.
How about a tuna salad?
You mean salad niçoise?
No, tuna salad.
Is it fresh tuna?
No.
Okay, give me a tuna salad. No dressing. What is it with your restaurants?
A British menu's a done deal, not a document for negotiation. I'm surprised you're still in the UK.
DCI Naylor asked, or rather told me, to stick around while they investigate Ken's death. Anyhow, somebody's got to do the paperwork, and Electra's flown back so she can work out the next move with her lawyers.
The latest, and as things turned out, last Mrs. Polizzi had come over especially to remind her soon-to-be ex that he'd better cave into her terms of divorce or else.
You speak to the cops?
At length. They asked me if he did drugs.
What did you say?
Well, I never saw him take anything. The flicker of relief on Larry's face opened the door to my next question. He did that, didn't he?
Ken's past was no secret.
What about his present? Was he taking stuff here in the UK?
I wouldn't know.
You knew every time Ken blew his nose.
You want me to say I supplied him with coke?
Did you?
With all due respect, Charles, go to hell.
Can I take that as an admission?
Are the UK police so desperate they're employing actors as detectives?
Fair point. I'll go to DCI Naylor, tell her everything Electra told me.
Electra?
She said you'd supply Ken with anything he wanted.
1 all-day breakfast, 1 tuna salad, no dressing.
Whoa.
There's a sachet of salad cream. Sorry, it's not organic.
Cute. Okay, Charles. I'll be straight with you. Ken was my boss and my best friend. And when a friend needs help, you help. Ken needed certain substances to get him through the day. If I didn't procure them, somebody else would.
There was something restoration about procure, and a Hogarthian picture was emerging of a spoilt, overindulged Ken with his needy friend Larry, all-round skivvy and low-life companion. Did you ever come across an actress called Willow Green?
Nope.
Says she knew Ken in L.A.
Well, so did a lot of actresses.
Not many ended up in the cast of Cinderella.
Certainly narrows the field.
Real name's Josie.
Still never heard of her.
The poker face was good, but the more he denied, the more I was convinced there was something worth denying. So you were just Ken's Mr. Fix-It?
That pretty much sums up my terms of employment.
Did that ever include paying people off?
You've spent too much time listening to the lovely Electra. Girls were part of Ken's life. She knew that when she tied the knot. If he'd listened to me, there'd have been a clause in the prenup.
So an affair wouldn't have posed a threat?
To his marriage? You've met Electra. Nothing threatens the wicked witch of the West Coast. This is the worst tuna salad I have ever eaten in my entire life.
Next time, I recommend the carbs.
I might just do that.
You didn't kill Ken, did you?
You're lucky, Charles.
Why?
Before my anger management therapy, I'd have hit you for that.
With the small, wiry physique of a street fighter, I could well imagine Larry being a bit tasty in a punch-up.
So here's the truth. I'm still on the payroll. Part of our deal was that I'm on a percentage of royalties in all territories. For 15 years, damage limitation has been one of my main duties.
Must have been tricky at times.
Oh, beautiful British understatement. When Ken's addictions made the news, I had to manage each story. I had to make sure Ken could still function. I had to see the work kept coming in. Ken's back catalogue is my pension fund. Why would I kill the goose that laid the golden egg? I'm out of here.
Don't you want a coffee?
Not if they do to coffee what they did to that tuna. Listen, we both want to find out who killed Ken. Right, so this is my number. I hear anything, I tell you. You hear anything, you tell me. 10 cover it?
Easily.
Right, girls, time to reveal your signature bakes. You first, Dyspepsia.
This is my leftover turkey pie.
Did you leave it over a bonfire?
Ooh, cheeky silver-haired fox.
How about you, Nausea? What have you made?
It's the Christmas trifle.
That's the tallest trifle I've ever seen.
It's the trifle tower.
I'll start with the pie.
Don't tell me I've got a soggy bottom. What is wrong with Tad? I didn't think it was possible to be more wooden, but I've acted with more animate furniture.
They got his billing wrong on the posters.
If he doesn't grow up, I'll take his billing and shove it up his
Got
arse.
a minute, Charles?
Yeah.
This show's turning into a pantomime.
You know how stuff comes to you when you're not trying?
Everything except money.
Well, I was in the shower and there it was.
She handed me a phone in a Hello Kitty case. You had your phone in the shower?
No, I was in the shower when I remembered the last text Josie sent me. Read it.
Running late. Tie's good for me. Mine's a weeping tiger. What, weeping tiger?
She loves steak.
Oh, right. You order, still not famous, but payback coming promise. What was it you saw in this?
OK, just after Josie got back from the States, she opened a savings account for her LA haul.
Haul?
That's what she called it.
I thought the trip was a washout.
Work-wise, yeah, all knocking on doors and nothing happening.
So where'd the money come from?
I don't know.
Why did Larry's hyperactive face swim out of my subconscious?
Anyway, wherever it came from, it didn't last.
Why?
Love.
Love?
It's always love with Josie, and it always ends in tears. Usual story. Meets Guy, falls in love with Guy, Guy's the one. They're always the one. Surprise, surprise, Guy dumps her, but not before she lends him money for a car. Bye-bye nest egg.
Any idea how much?
15 grand. Always a soft touch. After that, I lent her money to get her panda MOT'd and told her to pay me back when she was rich and famous.
OK.
Read the text.
Still not famous or rich, but payback coming promise.
Yeah, at the time I thought she meant payback for the takeaway, but in the shower...
She might have meant pay back the money you lent her.
Well, it might.
So maybe the one wasn't so bad after all and returned the loan.
He was last heard of flipping burgers in Sydney.
So where was the money coming from?
Exactly.
Have you told the police?
I think I should. Don't you?
DCI Naylor had her way of doing things, and I had mine. Sherlock would call it a 3-pipe problem, but I couldn't afford that amount of tobacco. And even if I could, I'd have been banned from Southeastern Railways. Then again, who needed a pipe when I had Francis, a loft, and incipient silicosis?
What if Josie...
Baubles!
I beg your pardon?
That box behind you.
Oh, well, what if she went to the beach that night to get money out of Ken?
With what?
A gun.
You could hold up a bank with a gun. Surely she'd need to have something on Ken to extort money from him.
He was already in the middle of a litigious divorce, and as Larry said, nothing threatens Electra.
What's she like?
Electra. Another actress with the effrontery to grow old in Tinseltown.
Barefaced cheek.
And now she's out for everything she can get from Ken's estate.
Was she ruthless enough to shoot him?
Nah, she's too smart for guns. Her weapon of choice is a team of Madison Avenue lawyers in handmade suits.
Fairy lights. Box 1.
Steady on. Oh, God, I've just inhaled a century of dust.
You've inhaled worse.
Oh.
Right, we need box 2, the tree base, and my festive centrepiece.
Festive centrepiece.
Mind your head on the rafters.
Can we please get out of here before I do myself a serious injury?
Box 2! Oh. Just the tree base and festive centrepiece to go. You know, I hate to ruin your fun, but just because a girl goes missing doesn't mean she's a murderer.
Well, a bit of a coincidence, though.
The law requires more than a bit of a coincidence.
Go on then, DCI Tennessee.
OK, what about the stalker?
Everyone says she's nuts but harmless.
They're always harmless till bang!
There's a real dark side to you.
You love it. Tree base.
Oh, goody.
How about the dim haircut?
Tad?
You said Ken snubbed him on the first day of rehearsals.
He didn't remember meeting him.
Just as he didn't remember meeting Josie. Suddenly, she and Tad had the same motive for killing Ken. Except it's not a motive. It's just being a bit miffed.
Your point being?
Apart from the fact that you're an actor, not a homicide detective.
Point taken. I can see your centrepiece.
If that line's not in Cinderella, I'm not coming.
Never a dull moment in Panto. Just as I was getting to grips with Baron Hardup. What is it now?
Tad's throwing a front-of-house hissy fit about his billing. Trouble is, no one's happy with his performance, so his bargaining power may not be as strong as he thinks.
This Panto is rapidly turning into a farce.
A farce I can work with. A fiasco's another matter. What's your understudy like?
Good. Quick on the uptake. Why?
See you around, guys. Good luck with the show.
As one door closes, another door opens. What size shoes do you take?
Why? In what was fast becoming an Alice in Wonderland game of musical chairs, my understudy took over Baron Hardup while I donned a pair of stilettos to rehearse an ugly sister dance routine with Danny.
I'm shaking!
Here, go! The player's gonna play. Hey. I'm gonna shake. I shake it off.
No!
Breaker's gonna break. Breaker's gonna break. Oh! Oh, my bloody ankle!
Oh, what have I done to deserve this?
It's my ankle.
Sorry, Charles.
Oh.
Can we have some ice for Charles?
OK, take 5.
How can you dance in stilettos?
Ginger Rogers did the same as Fred Astaire, only in high heels and backwards.
Oh.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that hurt?
No.
That?
No.
Oh, how about this?
Ah.
Good.
Well, how can that be good?
Nothing hot and cold treatment won't sort out.
Dancers are a whole different breed.
Oh, recognition at last.
Oh.
Here, I'll stretch your leg.
Thanks. Oh. 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 Oh, that's me.
Oh, you really shouldn't have your phone inside your corset.
I'm an actor. My entire life's on this. Oh, no, not another mad... Oh.
What?
The last 2 are threatening. This one's a smiley face, winky face and thumbs up.
You've done something right.
I wish I knew what. Did you tell the police about Josie and the money?
Anne spent another hour with DCI Naylor going back over everything in case there was anything else I'd missed.
Was there?
Don't think so. She made me go right back to when Josie and I first met at Conti's.
Were you always planning to dance?
No, we were on the performing arts course, doing a bit of everything.
So Josie dropped out before she got her degree?
It wasn't a degree course. You have to be 18 to get on that.
Oh, so how old was she when she dropped out?
16.
She went to LA on her own at 16?
She was always mature for her age.
Deciding it was better to miss a rehearsal than lose yet another dame, I dosed up on anti-inflammatories and they packed me off to my dressing room with a heated pad and an ice pack. Under strict instructions not to drink, I consoled myself with an antique sausage roll I found at the back of my fridge. Yes, Morris.
Are you drunk?
I wish, but I'm not allowed with the drugs.
What?
I've sprained a muscle dancing.
Oh, thank God for that.
Cheers for the sympathy.
Well, maybe this'll help the pain. I'm clutching a revised Cinderella contract hot off the printer, and your fee's gone up.
Yes! Ow!
It won't buy you that villa in Mustique, but Bob Cratchit can afford a bigger bird for his Christmas dinner. Shall I sign?
Yes, sign.
Morris Skellen, done. I'll get Pixie to scan it and send it straight back. Right. I'll let you get back to your deep heat.
Oh, Morris.
Yes?
You don't happen to know the age of consent in Los Angeles?
Oh, my God. What have you done?
No, I'm just sitting here doing a crossword and I wondered if you knew.
Ah, well, as it happens, I do know about that sort of stuff for when we send out our child clients. Let me just check. Los Angeles. Ah, yes, thought so. Age of consent, 18. Helpful?
Maybe it was acid reflux from the sausage roll, but something left a bad taste in my mouth. To hell with no drinking. What now? Another anonymous text, but this time just a maps link and the name Josie. Sneaking out through the stage door, eyes glued to my phone, I limped the back streets of Margate following the little blue arrow which led me to an alley under some old railway arches. The arrow stopped at a checkered flag telling me I'd reached my destination, a derelict graffiti-covered lockup.
Hello? Anyone in?
The whole alley looked abandoned, so I gave the rusty up and over a kick. The lower edge shifted. I didn't want my prints over everything, so I stuck my hand in my coat pocket, twisted the handle, pulled, and pushed. Well, well. Not your classic Top Gear viewer. I wouldn't know a Ford from a Ferrari. But the lime green car was unmistakably Josie's Fiat Panda. There was no light, but as my eyes accustomed to the gloom... Oh, God. Josie was slumped back in the driver's seat. At least I assumed it was Josie. There wasn't much left to identify. Opening the car door, the interior...
And next week at the same time, Charles manages to solve the murder. Well, in just a moment on FM, Diana Speed will be reading the midday news, while on Longwave, the headlines and shipping forecast come from Mairead Devlin. Then at 12:04, we're all back together again for Home Front. Afterwards, You and Yours turns its attention to rural bus routes, will writing services, and whether Europe's 5 biggest car hire firms have upped their game since being criticised more than a year ago for not being open about extras and hidden charges. Peter White presents Friday's You and Yours. That's just after 12:15.
BBC over the tens of thousands still believed to be in the enclave. The World Health Organization says aid agencies were told to leave without explanation. Syrian state television says the army has sealed the evacuation route and will resume its military operation.
A 12-year-old boy of Iraqi descent is under investigation in Germany for allegedly planning to bomb a Christmas market in the western town of Ludwigshafen. Prosecutors have confirmed they're investigating the discovery of a nail bomb in the town. The Kremlin has dismissed American claims that President Putin was personally responsible for Russian cyber attacks during the US presidential election. A spokesman demanded that Washington provide proof or stop talking about it. Donald Trump has nominated a long-term friend and campaign advisor to be the next US ambassador to Israel. David Friedman opposes a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and has supported the construction of Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank. The national lottery operator Camelot has been fined £3 million for paying out on a prize claim that's believed to have been fraudulent. An investigation by the Gambling Commission uncovered a series of failings. Here's John Moylan.
This alleged fraud involves a deliberately damaged lottery ticket that was presented to Camelot back in 2009 and resulted in millions of pounds being paid out. The matter only came to light last year. A subsequent investigation uncovered weaknesses in Camelot's controls. The police were also involved, but are not taking any further action. The £3 million penalty includes the £2.5 million, which should have gone to good causes had the fraud not been successful. Camelot says that it has paid the penalty. It insists a similar fraud would not be successful today.
The energy supplier EDF is to cut its standard gas.
By Simon Brett.
Still rehearsing and 2 members of the cast already dead. At this rate, our Cinderella would have a higher body count than Titus Andronicus.
We must stop meeting like this, Mr. Paris.
Yeah, call me Charles.
How about a cup of tea down the station? Charles.
To find 1 dead body may be regarded as misfortune. 2 starts to look iffy, especially if you're an actor sitting opposite a homicide detective giving you evils.
Here we are again.
Note to self, stop finding murder victims. Comedy's all in the timing. And the look on DCI Naylor's face said I'd just lost my sense of rhythm.
Skipping over the fact that you may have compromised a crime scene, what makes you say murder?
Well, after Ken's body on the beach...
You know she still had a gun in her hand.
I put 2 and 2 together.
And came up with 11.
Maths was never my thing.
Unlike jumping to conclusions and your uncanny gift for discovering bodies. At least now we've got some idea what happened to Mr. Polizzi, thanks to Josie.
Thanks to Josie?
She wrote a note on her phone.
A suicide note?
More, confession. Here, there's a transcript.
I thought killing Ken would kill the pain I've suffered all these years, but it didn't, so now there's only one way to end it all.
Clearly some sort of failed relationship.
There was something soap opera scripty about Josie's final words that didn't quite ring true.
We've screenshot those threatening texts from your phone so you can have it back. We're still tracing the sender.
The texts were emojis, red frowny face, thumbs down and a gun, followed by a knife, skull and coffin. I felt nostalgic for a poison pen letter cut out of newsprint.
Any idea who sent them?
I didn't recognise the number.
There was more than one. So they were either sent from different phones or the person sending them kept changing SIMs.
I didn't notice that.
Don't worry. I can't dance.
Well, nor can I. Look, I know I'm just an actor, but both texts came after I'd taken over Ken's role as Baron Hardup.
You think another actor wanted the part?
No one's that desperate to play Baron Hardup. I mean, it's a decent enough part, but there's not much to get your teeth into.
Can we stick to the point?
I don't want to get an innocent person into trouble, but there's a fan of Ken's, well, more a stalker. Wherever he went, she went. She's the one leaving shrines all over Margate.
Is there a name?
I just know her as Gloria.
If she sent the text, why suddenly send you directions to Josie's body?
Well, here's the thing. Another actor left the show, and I got recast again. I'm not complaining. Ugly Sisters get more gags and some terrific costume changes. You should see the ball gown.
The thing, Charles. Oh, what's the thing?
The thing, sorry. Well, it was after they asked me to switch again that I got the text with directions to the lockup.
A reward for not playing Baron Hardup?
A corpse in a car? Some reward. I suppose it's possible Gloria could have killed Ken and Josie and made it look like suicide.
You're jumping to conclusions again.
Unless Josie killed Ken, then shot herself out of remorse or guilt, or maybe...
OK, Charles, I'm sure you'd like to get home.
Yeah, sure.
Who's playing the Baron now?
My understudy.
Better warn them to look out for threatening texts.
After a day from hell, I squeezed into an overheated carriage full of stressed commuters, boiling with barely suppressed pre-Christmas rage. Hi, Morris.
You really are a lodestone for trouble. Panto with Paris is like the last act of Hamlet.
I'm not in the mood, Morris.
Just touching base with the Grim Reaper.
It's been a testing day.
For us both. No sooner do I renegotiate your fee from broker's man to Baron Hardup than you're in heels and lipping.
Damehood was thrust upon me.
Yes, well, I doubt Judy'll lose any sleep.
Don't suppose I get a raise for cross-dressing?
No, Charles. You maxed out your negotiation leverage on this show, but you are a tonic. Such good value, never a dull moment. And now Paris discovers his inner woman.
I'm fully in touch with my feminine side.
Does that mean you'll be treating us to your piaffe on Christmas Day?
There's no show on Christmas Day.
The party.
Party?
To be honest, I find Christmas a melancholic time. The mordant office outing, the all-pervasive whiff of cinnamon, the woe-begone gaze of bus drivers in flashing Santa hats.
When were you last on a bus?
You don't have to use public transport to sense the festive despair. It's ubiquitous, like Slade or Wizard or Die Hard.
Whoa. Just rewind to the party bit.
I bumped into the lovely Frances in Old Compton Street. We adjourned to Bar Italia to swap faded festive memories.
And she fell for your sob story?
I haven't sobbed since the death of Bambi's mother.
She dies?
Oops, spoilers. Frances was so persuasive I could hardly refuse. What that wonderful woman sees in you...
Yeah, gotta go, Morris. I can feel myself coming down with seasonal affective disorder. Only 3 things could make me feel better. A hot bath, a large scotch and low-fibre, high-cholesterol food. Thank you, Lord, for this unholy trinity. The beer-battered ocean dweller, the deep-fried fruit of the soil and the distilled grain of thy fields.
Fish and chips in the bath, and you know, even for you.
I could have had a stroke.
I stopped the habits of a lifetime, and don't think I can't see the scotch behind the loofah.
If you'd had my day...
2 words... Christmas shopping.
Bloody Christmas. When our son-in-law announced he was relocating the family to the Caribbean for the season, Lady Frances Ottoline Morell hit the address book and the guest list was heading for triple figures.
It's not as if you do anything towards Christmas.
What's that mean?
You've always been non-competent.
I pour drinks.
And drink them. Have you ever cooked Christmas dinner, hung a bauble, or bought a tree for that matter?
OK, I'll buy the tree.
You're on. But I want something sustainable.
Well, just let me know and I'll order it.
And leave the guest list to me.
Absolutely. I won't even mention Morris.
Oh.
Yeah, when were you going to tell me? When he burst out of a pudding?
He got me at a weak moment.
I bet he did. Anyway, Morris is the least of my problems. Remember that girl who went missing, Josie?
The dancer?
I found her.
Where?
In her car, in a lockup, shot in the head.
Oh, Charles.
Well, don't say it like it was my fault.
It was meant to be a how awful, not a how did you do it. You didn't do it.
No. The police think it's suicide, but you know what they're like.
What, that bunch of highly trained professionals bogged down with facts, evidence, experience, resources? What they really need is an actor.
I may be an actor, but I know something they don't.
Of course you do. Just give me a chip, Hercule.
Yeah.
Whoa! Don't panic, but there's something aberrant bobbing in the water.
Bobbing? Oh, my Wally.
What?
Were your family too posh to eat Wallies with their fish and chips?
We didn't eat fish and chips.
Think of it as a large cornichon.
A gherkin, thank God for that.
Must have slipped its mooring in the soap dish.
A gherkin in the soap dish could be the title of your memoir. So, what's this thing you know that the police don't?
Well, I haven't actually got any actual evidence.
Here we go.
Remember I told you Josie said she'd met Ken in L.A. and I wondered if she'd tried to extort money from him?
But I said she'd need to have something juicy on him.
Well, according to her friend Kitty, Josie dropped out of stage school 10 years ago to take her chances in Hollywood.
OK.
At the time of her death, Josie was 26, making her 16 when she went out there.
It's like Marcus de Soto is actually in the room.
I've done a bit of research, and she could travel at 16, but she couldn't work, not without something called a Californian high school proficiency exam. So what was a 16-year-old stage school dropout doing in Hollywood?
Getting the lay of the land?
Or getting laid.
distasteful, but not unknown, and providing it was consensual.
The age of consent in California is 18.
I'd hate to see your browsing history.
Juicy enough to blackmail Ken?
You need to tell the police.
I want to be sure of my facts before I hand it to DCI Naylor to patronise me. Pass the salt.
These are my Dead Sea bath salts.
It's all sodium.
That's why the chips taste of lavender.
Think of it as fine dining. Next day was the dress, so I left early with a scribbled note from Francis. Back in Margate, I stopped off for a much-needed refuel.
Americano with a shot of steamed milk to take out. You got soya milk?
No.
Okay, make it skinny.
The barking demands identified Larry even before I saw him ahead of me in the coffee queue.
How about rice milk?
No. Hello, Larry.
Hi. Coconut?
Sorry.
Forget the milk. I'll take it black. What do you want, Charles?
Nothing.
To drink.
Oh, thanks. I'll have a double espresso to take away.
And a double espresso for the schnorrer.
I'd forgotten just how charming Ken's manager and Mr. Fix-It could be.
What about almond milk?
Sorry.
Okay, forget it. Something I won't miss about this country.
The dearth of almond milk.
The can't do, won't do attitude.
You should have been here 40 years ago. With his usual incredulity that anyone would actually choose to walk anywhere, Larry insisted on driving me to the festival playhouse.
Look at that. More of Gloria's handiwork.
Larry jerked his head towards another Ken Polizzi street memorial. Flowers, tea lights, and a laminated photo of the actor 15 years younger. A seafront bus shelter decorated like a Florentine reliquary. Did Ken use any buses in Margate?
Get out of here. She must have seen him stop to light a cigarette. They're all over town, even that pub you took him to. She wants to put a brass plate on a table. Ken Polizzi drank here.
The police think she sent me threatening texts when I took over his part in the show.
Could be.
Then I got another text telling me where to find Josie.
Is she the girl you told me about? The one who said she knew Ken in L.A.?
That's right. She was in her car, dead.
You have some gift for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Was she murdered?
The police think suicide.
You don't.
2 of the cast have died within days. They must be linked.
They are linked. You found them both.
I didn't kill them.
But you were the first person on the scene.
How long are you around?
Ask DCI Naylor. I've moved into the Grand while I tidy up Ken's affairs. The minute they release the body, we'll be out of here on the first flight. And it can't come fast enough.
Right, there we go.
Back in my dressing room, I rang Francis's Dutch hipster arborist while my dresser manhandled me. Oh, hello. I'd like a Nordic non-drop.
Wouldn't we all? Please.
Not only was
Deep
I a
breath.
Christmas tree virgin, it was the first time I'd bought one whilst being laced into a corset.
Are all your trees ethically sourced, organically grown, sustainable, biodynamic eco-pines?
You should get an artificial.
Shh. Size? Yeah, hang on. My wife scribbled it down.
Will you stand still?
Sorry. Well, that's either a 5 or a 6. Let's split the difference and make it 5.5. Ow! Sorry, there's a man trying to crush my ribcage.
You're such a big baby.
You ready, Charlie?
No, he's not.
Terry, see you down there, Danny.
I just had time to slap the tree on plastic while Terry shoehorned me into my finale walk-down costume, a Beyoncé parody complete with false glutes. I tottered into the wings in thigh-length boots while Kitty choreographed the end-of-show walk-down.
Any time this year will do.
Sorry, Danny.
Well, better late than never, dear. Oh, I was so upset about Josie.
Yeah.
If you fancy a drink...
Oh, yeah.
I've got a 19-year-old in my dressing room.
You're a married man.
Single mom. Here we go, baby. Let's do this thing!
Shake your booty, Charles!
I shook my booty. Boy, did I shake it. Danny set a high bar. Some performers force you to be better. Others make you want their approval. Danny was both. Back in trousers, but still in makeup, I bounced up to his dressing room.
It's me, Danny. You decent?
Hello, Charles.
Wigless, Danny peered through a crack in the door, but made no attempt to usher me in. Maybe I hadn't met his high standards.
Well, I've brought the peanuts, but if... We can have a drink another time if you're tired.
No. Come in.
He opened the door just wide enough for me to slip past, only to be confronted by Gloria, a small snub-barrelled gun protruding from her red plastic rain cape. If it's about the balloon...
It's not about the balloon. Sit down.
Cup of tea, anyone?
Not unless you've got decaffeinated.
Tea?
There's caffeine in tea.
I didn't know that.
I'd rather have a scotch.
Of course you would. Do you know what that stuff does to you?
It's not half as much as a bullet.
OK if I'd pour a whiskey for me, my friend?
All right, but slowly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a little lamb lost in the woods.
Slow and calm.
You are good. Always be good.
There you go, Charles.
Watch over me.
Cheers.
I feel sick.
Oh, good.
I get low blood sugar.
Have a peanut.
She might be intolerant.
I'm not intolerant.
She's not intolerant here. How did you get past the stage doorman?
He's another drinker. I watched him. As soon as it's quiet, straight round the pub, same time every day, regular as clockwork.
I'll be having a word, FOH.
It always comes down to drink or drugs. Ken was all right till he came here and met you.
No, hang on.
He cleaned up his act.
How do you know?
Charlie.
I know everything about him.
Well, you know everything his PR agents wanted you to know.
Storm.
If that woman had stayed away, he'd still be here.
Which woman?
His so-called wife, another greedy gold digger preying on him.
Are you saying Electra killed him?
Might as well have done. It's her fault he fell off the wagon. Booze makes people weak, then they make bad decisions.
Like Panto and Margate.
Oi.
I just meant it wasn't right for an actor like Ken.
He could do anything.
Well, maybe not anything.
OK, Charlie.
Well, you wouldn't cast him as Lear.
Let it go.
Sorry.
Ken didn't need to play act. He kept it real. He let you into his life.
Did you shoot him?
Come, Charles.
I loved Ken.
She loved him.
But if he'd let you down...
He could never let me down. Someone to watch over me.
What about Josie? Did you shoot her?
Gloria's not the shooty type, are you, love?
She wants to shoot me.
I warned you not to take Ken's part.
That's why you sent me those texts.
He isn't.
What?
He isn't playing bad and hard up anymore.
Oh. Can I have some water?
Of course you can, love.
Who's Josie?
She was our swing captain. There you go.
The girl in the green car?
Don't tell me you did kill her.
I didn't kill anyone.
Then how do you know what car she drove?
That night, I saw him get into that car with a young woman. He didn't know I was watching. He could be really friendly, but when he'd had a few drinks...
What did you see?
Ken and the girl arguing. He got out of the car, slammed the door, and she drove away. Ken took a bottle out of his pocket, but it was empty, so he marched off to the pub. Then you went in and joined him.
Did you stay outside the whole time?
I was worried about him.
I'm not judging. What happened next?
You left and I ate a fish paste sandwich.
I haven't had a fish paste sandwich in years.
Danny.
Oh, sorry.
Then a bit later Ken came out. He looked awful. He went into an off-licence, bought a bottle of vodka, made a phone call, and then he sat drinking in a bus shelter on the seafront. Then a man in a red hoodie turned up and gave him a small packet.
Drugs?
Doesn't sound like an Ocado delivery.
The man went away, then the green car came back. The girl got out and said something, but Ken walked away. So she followed him down to the beach, shouting.
Shouting what?
I couldn't hear over the wind and the sea.
What could you see?
Nothing. I was too busy trying not to be seen. Then there was a bang, like a firework.
Josie must have shot Ken.
No.
Well, if you couldn't see, how do you know?
Because he came up to meet the red hoodie man again. Ken looked hyper, jumpy, shouting and swearing and pushing the man around. Then the man slapped him quite hard, and Ken sort of came to. Ken led him down to the beach. Then there was another bang. Then the man came staggering up from the beach with the girl over his shoulder. He bundled her in the green car and drove away.
Did you follow?
I can't drive, and it was the middle of the night, so no taxis around.
But if you didn't see where he went, how did you text me directions?
I didn't. I sent the emojis, but nothing else.
Is Charles with you?
Don't move!
What, you're going to shoot me with a toy gun?
What?
Toy?
Away.
Look,
real to me.
Put your glasses on.
007?
I was up for that.
Bond?
A toy commercial. I got down to the last two.
Mr. Paris?
Oh, hi.
Can I have a quick word in private? Looks like I owe you an apology.
Me?
People who shoot themselves don't tend to take a second shot.
What?
There was too much mess for us to see, but forensics say Josie had been shot twice.
Twice?
There was a second entry wound next to the first.
DCI Naylor had just lifted a rug and revealed a missing piece of jigsaw I'd been looking for.
Looks like your maths isn't so bad after all.
Will you excuse me? I headed straight for the Grand, where I seemed to have wandered onto the set of Strictly Does Margate till I realised they were hosting an afternoon tea dance in their expansive Edwardian foyer.
Excuse me, dear. Would you care to cha-cha-cha?
Me? Oh, that's very kind. But, oh, sorry, wife. Good timing.
Never again.
What?
You just can't be trusted.
I don't know what you've heard, but whoever she is...
It's not a she, it's an it. A tree. A Nordic non-drop.
The Christmas tree.
I thought even you could make a call and read out what I've written.
I did. While she ranted, the lift doors opened and Larry stepped out.
I got back to find an 18-foot pine leaning against the front of the house.
Larry was wearing a quilted jacket and carrying a small holdall.
I thought it was a gift from the people of Oslo for the part my father played in the war. Then I remembered I trusted you with the task of ordering the bloody thing.
Impatient as ever, Larry checked his watch, drumming his fingers on the counter while the receptionist dealt with another guest.
Feet, Charles. 5 to 6 feet.
It's not my fault your hipster arborist operates in metric. The receptionist turned to Larry, who handed her his room key and a wad of cash.
Nothing's ever your fault, is it?
Sidestepping an elderly couple doing a very risky body ripple, Larry headed for the door.
I've got to go, Francis. I'll call you later. Larry?
Hey, you here for the tea dance?
Well, actually, I fancy a scotch. Are you in a hurry?
It was the same bar where I'd met Electra and watched Gloria in the bus shelter opposite eating a sandwich and staring up at the hotel. The bus shelter was now her uber-kitsch memorial to the late Ken Polizzi.
She held you at gunpoint.
Turned out to be a toy gun. I don't think she'd have had a clue where to get a real one.
Lucky for you. I thought she was harmless.
She's a self-appointed guardian of Ken's memory.
At least I got paid to manage his image.
I remember you telling me Ken required certain things to get him through the day.
Yeah, if I didn't provide them, somebody else would.
Except you didn't say provide. You said procure.
Tomato, tomato.
I'm one of those anally retentive English pedants who notice things like that. You didn't provide, or supply, or score. You procured.
Whatever. My job was to keep Ken happy.
Sure. But it made me wonder what else you might procure to make him happy.
Just cut to the chase, Charles. Are we talking guns?
I was thinking more women.
I am many things, but I am not a pimp.
But your duties included networking, introductions.
Of course. There were lots of parties and lots of girls. There were also lots of boys and the occasional chihuahua. I didn't fix Ken up with those either.
Did he ask you to pay women off?
Fame brings problems.
So, a girl gets too clingy?
It was a straightforward business expense.
Except there was the added complication that Josie was underage. That's the first time you haven't denied knowing her. Or are you claiming the fifth? Okay, I'll tell you what I think happened. I think Josie rejected your offer and threatened to go to the cops or maybe sell her underage kiss and tell. What was it, photos, video?
Ken could never resist a pretty face in the lens. Josie had the director's cut ready to upload and a Vine that would crash the internet.
Whatever a Vine was, I had a feeling it wouldn't produce a decent Merlot. So Ken raised his offer. Josie went home with her L.A. haul and everyone lived happily ever after. Cut to 10 years later, Ken's career's on the slide and he takes a part in Cinderella.
He didn't know what Pando was, but he'd heard about Spacey and McKellen and thought it'd be a good career move.
Re-enter Josie, broke. Then along comes Bank of Ken, who panics and asks you to deal with her.
Not like that. For God's sake, I didn't shoot her.
I know you didn't. Ken did.
Then he called you to hide the body. That's it. That's why you shot her a second time in the car, to make it look like she killed herself.
You're wasted here. With an imagination like that, you should be in Hollywood.
Except this, as they say, is based on a true story.
Your story.
You didn't intend to shoot Ken. After all, he was the gravy train. But he was also a chaotic pain in the butt who treated you like a lapdog.
I'm nobody's lapdog.
Electra said that's exactly what you were.
Electra.
15 years of bullying would push anyone over the edge. That's why you shot him on the beach. You'd just had enough.
You were there, were you, Charles? You witnessed this moment of madness?
No, but Gloria was.
Gloria? Crazy, obsessive stalker fan, Gloria.
I think the police will listen to her.
Entertaining as this is, all things must pass, and I got a plane to catch.
The second you leave this bar, I'm going to phone DCI Naylor. He stood, one hand in his jacket pocket, stretching the fabric in my direction. Another gun.
Well, I'm not glad to see you. Let's go.
I knocked back my scotch and headed for the door. Larry so close I could feel the barrel in my back. My mind was racing. If I ran, he'd shoot, but he was going to shoot me anyway. Then again, at least I'd have a measure of autonomy, but what good's autonomy with a bullet in the back of your head? We were approaching the Jeff Koons in Vegas bus shelter when...
You bastard!
In a flap of plastic rain cape, a miniature Wonder Woman sprang at Larry from behind, clinging to his back like a furious child, spinning him around and punching with tiny fists. I grabbed a gilt-framed photo of Ken from the shrine and brought it down on Larry's head. Gloria fell off, and with my second strike, the gun skidded across the promenade, coming to a halt at her feet.
It was you. You were the man in the hoodie.
Put the gun down.
You shot Ken, and now I'm going to shoot you.
Don't, Gloria.
He was loved by millions.
You have no idea what he was like.
He was an artist.
He was an actor who got lucky. That's all he was.
He made people happy.
The man with the Midas touch, except everything he touched went rotten.
No!
He ruined lives. And I had to clear up his mess. You want to shoot me? Shoot.
With a third shooting averted, Cinderella finally opened to favourable reviews and full houses. Speaking of full houses, the last thing I wanted for Christmas was a massive party. Eggnog?
I've still got 90 sausage rolls to bake. Izzy won't stop whining about her adulterous ex, and someone's projectile vomited in my ensuite.
Love of the tree, Francis. Never seen one growing in through the window. Gangway, hungry man in need of mini king.
There go my devils on horseback.
Don't you want to save them?
To be honest, I don't give a damn.
Charles, shall I play the piano?
No.
I think I will.
This was a massive mistake, wasn't it?
Hold my glass. I need to make a call.
Call who?
Will someone shut my agent up? Danny, Charles. Is Charles Hawtrey free tonight?
What?
Hang on. Danny's room's a theme. Charles Hawtrey's occupied, but Charlie Drake's free. Ensuite, sea view, and a full English to die for. Of course, it's only one bed.
Christmas comes but once a year. Do not follow that up.
As if.
Give me 5 minutes to pack a bag.
Ding dong merrily on high.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I gotta go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you'd drop in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands, they're just like ice.
My mother will start to
Beautiful,
worry.
what's your hurry?
My father will be pacing
Listen to the
floor.
fireplace roar.
So really I better
Beautiful,
scurry.
please don't hurry.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Put on some records while I pour.
In episode 4 of Charles Paris, Charles was played by Bill Nye, Francis by Suzanne Burden, and Morris by John Glover. Danny was Sean Baker, DCI Naylor Claire Perkins, Kitty Kirsty Oswald, Gloria Elizabeth Bennett, Larry Nick Underwood, and the train passenger Jason Barnett. The Cinderella Killer was written by Jeremy Front, based on the novel by Simon Brett. The director was Sally Avens.
It's cold outside.
Ah, you're very pushy, you know.
I like to think of it as opportunistic.
So, what are you up to at the moment, Jonathan?
This Christmas on BBC One.
Anything exciting on the horizon? Any juicy locked room mysteries I should know about?
Jonathan Creek is called to Demon's Roost.
There's definitely some stuff going on around here that someone's desperate to keep a lid on.
A house once owned by a 19th century sorcerer.
So we're on a ghost hunt then now?
Whose legacy of terror lives on.
You ready to face the demons?
Alan Davis returns as Jonathan Creek in a one-off Christmas special.
Interesting.
With Sarah Alexander and Warwick Davis.
Very interesting.
Next Wednesday night at 9 on BBC One.
BBC News at midday. Police in Italy have shot dead Anis Amri, the man suspected of carrying out Monday's lorry attack in Berlin. The Italian authorities say the fingerprints of the dead man match those found on the steering wheel of a lorry which drove at shoppers at a Christmas market, killing 12 people and injuring dozens more. Here's our Europe regional editor, Mike Sanders.
Anis Amri, a 24-year-old Tunisian criminal and failed asylum seeker, had been on the run since the Berlin killings. German police thought he was probably hiding out in Berlin. But at 3 o'clock in the morning in Italy, police in a patrol car spotted a young man walking near a metro station in northeast Milan. They decided to carry out a routine check and ask for his ID. He responded by pulling a gun from his backpack. Police say he shouted, "God is great," in Arabic and began shooting. An officer on probation with just 9 months' service returned fire, killing him. The policeman was injured, but not seriously.
Reports from Malta say a Libyan airliner has landed in the capital Valletta after being hijacked. The plane had been flying from Sabha in southwest Libya to Tripoli with 118 people on board. It's thought the two hijackers threatened to blow up the aircraft. The United Nations says the number of migrants who drowned in the Mediterranean Sea trying to reach Europe has exceeded 5,000 this year, the highest total yet recorded. At least 90 migrants appear to have drowned yesterday. A vaccine that protects against the deadly Ebola virus could be made widely available by 2018, according to the World Health Organization. Results published in the medical journal The Lancet show the vaccine is highly effective against the virus. Our global health correspondent Tulip Mazumdar reports.
The vaccine, known as RVSV, started being trialled in Guinea in 2015 as the world's worst ever Ebola outbreak started to wane. Preliminary results from the trial in the summer suggested that this vaccine could be a game changer, but this research confirms that it does provide 100% protection against the virus. None of the 6,000 people who were potentially exposed to Ebola and were given this vaccine went on to develop the virus. However, 23 people in the same size group who were not vaccinated did become infected.
A former British ambassador to Syria has criticised the government's approach to the crisis there, saying it had been wrong every step of the way. Peter Ford, who was the ambassador in Damascus from 2003 to 2006,